Hello. Hello. Welcome to the Bad News Show. I'm Joey. I'm Joe. Yes, the warm-up that I promised you is here. It's happening today. Yeah, well, it's not going to happen all at once, but it's beginning already. It's 7:49 right now when I'm recording this. It's already breaking that fog up. The sun's rays are poking through, and it's starting to look like a blue sky out there. And it's nice because that little bit of snow yesterday sure got us scared, man. This is the Bad News Show. Let's go.
There it is. This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on. Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They dry mopping this.
This episode is brought to you by Wildfire's Floods and Communications Podcast. Tim Conrad and his crew of information officers put together this podcast. And a lot of it's very, very interesting, actually. Check out some of the titles, even Public Outreach and Personal Recovery, Navigating Remote EOCs, Strategies from the Front Lines, Power Preparation, Emergency Communication, and Strategies from the Front Lines, Mastering Wildfire Communications. This is pretty interesting podcast, so do check out communicationspodcast.ca. You'll probably learn something. Not only did we have some snow yesterday, but we also had some other interesting things that happened out at Maple Lake Marina at 11 a.m. Waterspout was spotted. Maple Lake is 34 kilometers long and 700 feet deep. Waterspout formation typically occurs when cold air moves across Great Lakes and results in temperatures difference between the warm water and the overriding cold air, right? We did have a little bit of snow falling in southern BC yesterday. I mean, I woke up and I did say in my forecast yesterday morning that there was a tiny dusting of snow on Cow Mountain across the way. I think other people had mentioned that there was possibly a little bit of that show up on some of the other mountains around here. Yeah, it was the talk of the afternoon for a few minutes there. Snow. Did have some northern lights out last night. Thank you for this wonderful photo. And if the aurora's out, often Greg really is out taking photos of them. Great one. Good capture, Greg. Once again, you're one of the better ones out there. Here's Jolene's photo, taken out by Tetwan Cash in the Robson Valley. Snow falling in Revelstoke, as well as at Sun Peaks yesterday. All right, let's get on with the news. I like to start with a good satellite image just to sort of give us a kind of a look at what's going on out there. We got a whole bunch of extratropical tropical cyclones and whatnot. There's Hector, there's Hone. There's two H's, Hector and Hone and Gilma, so three of them still right now. Hector and Hone, here comes the high pressure, crashing in, bam! You're going to get crashed into us, and then here we have our, basically mid-latitude cyclone that's heading through. We do have a bit of a risk in Manitoba today for some severe thunderstorms, but I would say that's probably more of a North Dakota, Minnesota show, but it could slip over the border. Some of the storms that come through northern part, I don't think they'll be quite as powerful. Sometime around 1800, they're going to start crossing across the border. Chances are this guy down here that's isolated North Dakota will be the strongest one, but you could have this guy break out and pass just south of Winnipeg. So overnight, could see some very strong thunderstorms in southern Manitoba today. That's all I'm going to say about that. But that should continue overnight and be a little bit of a story on Thursday. But in actuality, I'm here to talk about the return of the warm weather in BC. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it too much, but here it returns. It begins to return on Wednesday. Still no consensus about how long this is going to last for. Looking pretty nice by Thursday. Western Canada warming up. Everywhere seeing some really nice weather in Canada to end the season. So we're going to start at September on the warm side for most of us. Into some really hot temperatures on Sunday for southern BC and southern Alberta, Saskatchewan as well. There's a concern that sometime Tuesday, Wednesday next week we could have an upper level low form. More and more, it seems like there's agreement that the heat pattern is going to stick around to stay for a little while longer at least. So I just made a forecast yesterday telling you how it's going to be more winter-like winter. Well, we're not in winter yet. Just, I thought yesterday because I knew there was going to be a little bit of snowfall, it'd be a good time to sort of talk about that and relate. Hey, it's only August and we're seeing a little bit of snow in the mountaintops, and we know that seasons where that happens tends to be the ones where we get snowier winter-like season. Whereas last year we had nothing really like that at all. It just stayed pretty much dry through September. We didn't have the period of humidity and rain that we've had already. It just mostly stayed dry, but chances are we're gonna stick around in this pattern for a little while longer. We'll see. There seems to be more agreement on the heat lasting longer now than there was a day or two or three ago. So I'm starting to look more and more like a smart man. And this will be bringing some lower relative humidity values, right? The low RH, well, you know that temperatures nearing 30 and low RH tends to lead to fire activity, right? So, I mean, I'm still waiting to see what happens with this upper level low. There's our storms that are looking to go into Manitoba and visit through northern Ontario. So our concern, there's the heat moving in. Can see clearly that the high pressure is taking over the west here. Our concern is that there'll be an upper level low sometime next week that delivers some precipitation and whatnot, thunderstorms into BC. So they've been going back and forth in the models, saying like, oh, by Tuesday our little heat spell ends and thunderstorms take over. And then the next time I look, it's just, every model's kind of waffling on this. There's not certainty. That's maybe the best word to use. We don't have confidence in what's going to happen necessarily next, but we know it's going to warm up. We know that's happening. So still, not the hottest of the days yet. Today, Wednesday, we're looking at, high teens through most of Western Canada or low 20s. Fort Nelson 23 being one of the warmer places, Winnipeg 21 being one of the warmer places. Some of the spots in BC all seem to be hovering in the teens at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Maybe some slightly warmer spots in Saskatchewan, but all in all, we're not looking at a very hot day on Wednesday. I think we will see that begin to show itself Wednesday afternoon. Mostly, we're looking at high teens and low 20s through Western Canada. Going to be a little hotter in Manitoba, northern Saskatchewan before those thunderstorms move through. A little bit hotter up in northern Alberta, northern Saskatchewan. BC mostly sitting in teens to topping at around 20. Most of southern Saskatchewan in the teens, southern Alberta being kind of the coldest spot. Intense heat down in the United States, intense heat in California. We're looking at high 30s in places, maybe even approaching 40. Thursday, looking at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Quesnel sitting at 23, Prince George 23, Williams Lake 25, as well as Kamloops and Kelowna. Cranbrook just a tick under there. Revelstoke sitting just above 20, Blue River at 20, Burns Lake at 20. So Trail 22, Calgary 24. Most of southern Alberta in mid low 20s. Saskatchewan sitting in 22s, 23s across much of the board in the afternoon. Maybe if you go to eastern Saskatchewan, where that instability is that region's kind of moved eastward, and you're going to see maybe just a tick below 20 degrees in a lot of places there until you get maybe to the Ontario border. Maybe you're going to see 22 there, a little bit warmer in northern Ontario as well. As Fort Severn hitting 24. There you go. By Friday, our high pressure sitting there as a nice block off the coast. This other one here feeding the warm air up towards BC, towards the prairies. Friday getting a little warmer, not hitting 30 probably yet, but we don't have to go very far south to hit 30s. Grand Coulee and Spokane, Colville, Omak all hitting around 30. We're expecting on Friday. Cranbrook 28s. So that's probably some of the warmer areas. Osoyoos 28. We're probably looking at 26s for Vernon, Lillooet, Kamloops, maybe Salmon Arm, Cusp at 25, Golden, Invermere at 22, 24, Williams Lake up to 25, Chilliwack sitting warmer at 26 as well as Port Alberni, Vancouver at 22, Williams Lake at 25, Quesnel at 22, so a little warmer again on Friday. Now let's head to Saturday. The heat still hasn't really taken hold in the prairies yet by Saturday. But we're starting to really see it show up in BC. Spokane now sitting at 34, 36 in Portland. So probably some record-breaking temperatures coming to them. Kelowna finally hitting 30. Probably getting into the high 20s in Kamloops, Williams Lake. Quesnel in the mid-20s, Prince George mid-20s, Revelstoke still looking pretty warm, Cranbrook at 29. Sunday we got more of that low really starting to develop down there in Washington State, seeing the temperatures push towards 30 there, right? So starting September 1st on a real warm note. Williams Lake could even maybe it's conceivable you could hit 30 in the afternoon. By Sunday, even Alberta's going to be sitting pretty warm now. Not so much once you get to eastern side of Saskatchewan, but if you're in the western side, maybe even Regina, Saskatoon, Meadow Lake will be in there. Calgary and Edmonton looking at 26s, right? So southern Alberta, pretty warm, even warmer at Fort McMurray, 27, looking pretty warm at Fort St. John as well. We bust on through to Monday. Now we're starting to see that heat reach across the prairies. Winnipeg still only sitting at 21 in the afternoon on Monday, but Saskatoon, Regina, both approaching 30s. Calgary and Edmonton in the high 20s. Vernon looking at 29. Soda Creek, Williams Lake, all those areas at 28. 27s and 28s through most of the province there. Vernon 29, Kelowna 31, maybe being the warmest. This is a couple days out now, so we're expecting on Tuesday to see possibly some thunderstorm activity in southern BC. We'll talk about that in a second before we go here. But Tuesday's also we're expecting to see Saskatchewan hitting up into the 30s in places, maybe just reaching over, but hitting up to 30 in southern Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Meadow Lake, more at 28s, and Calgary and Edmonton, those places. A lot of southern Alberta sitting in high 20s. Mid 20s through Manitoba by the Tuesday. So that's what we're looking at. BC, the thinking is Monday we're going to see possibly some thunderstorms in southern British Columbia, possibly some strong ones. That is going to bounce its way into Alberta starting for Tuesday. Tuesday we should see sort of the resolution of that in BC. So that's kind of the outlier. We're not exactly sure yet how that's going to change everything and manipulate everything. If it's going to represent a pattern change of sorts for BC, if this is just a short warm spell that we're in, or if that's really just an aberration. The models really have been going back and forth, but it looks like Tuesday, we're probably talking about big time thunderstorm potential for Alberta and Saskatchewan, right? So that's what we're looking forward to. Especially if these happen down south of Regina, that could be your last good tornado chase of the year. But that's, again, we're talking a week out now. But here's the thinking, right, is that we had this big storm system that suddenly pops up and blasts through, possibly giving next week, Wednesday, a week out from now, some, disastrous looking thunderstorms through Manitoba. But we're looking at seeing that high pressure return in BC. So models are a little bit all over the board on this. Still, like I was saying, we're going to find some resolution to some of these questions in the next couple days. Seems like BC wants to stay warm to start September, and we're at a situation where I think we're globally as warm as we've ever been. So don't sit there and tell me, well, it's because of the sun cycles. It's because we know exactly what's causing the fucking change. Okay, we know exactly. You're looking for a forecaster that doesn't believe in climate change. You won't find it because, not a reliable one, because in order to be good at forecasting, you have to understand science, the principles of science, and what's going on. And if you refuse to accept large parts of science, then your forecasting is not going to be good. And just to have your laugh for the day, this never occurred to me. You need to check out the sun's effect on Earth. You think the forecasters don't understand the sun has an effect on Earth, people? Cloud formation, precipitation, temperatures, all directly influenced by the sun. Solar energy drives photosynthesis and land plants. And some of what is returned key cycle hydro. So basically, the sun is everything in weather. And you're telling someone who studies weather to consider the influence of the sun. These thinly veiled climate change deniers. Just do the weather, not your opinion. Do you ever find yourself saying things that you think are really smart to people who are actually smarter than you, and you actually sound really stupid? I had someone else today comment, get over yourself, Joey. You're coming onto my channel, my project, to tell me to get over myself. Get over yourself. You got nothing. I'm doing this, okay? If you don't like it, don't fucking show up. That's the show for today. Hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. In the coming days, I'll have more for you, okay? In the coming days, we'll look deeper at how long that's going to be. Anyways, I've been talking for quite a while now, so it's about time I get off the old internet and, make some food. Have a happy morning. Have a happy morning. What is the date today, anyways? It's is it the 28th? So, is it Wednesday already? That seems impossible. Wednesday the 28th. Okay. Yes, it is. It's Wednesday the 28th of August. There you go. We're almost through to meteorological fall, which starts on September 1st. Okay, that's all for today. Bye now. Hit like, share, and subscribe.